What's good, everybody? Welcome to today's video, which is all about exporting your stems, track stems, your beat stems, your instrumentals, whatever you want from Logic Pro. First things first, I'm going to show you guys how to do it. That's why you're here. Secondly, I'm going to also explain why it's important later on in the production process. So if you're a beginner, pay attention today. With that said, let's jump over to Logic Pro. I've got a beat pulled up here. So the first thing I want to do here is clean up my track or my beat. So what I'm going to do is just double click each track and just make sure that everything is named properly. I recommend either deleting the tracks that are muted, anything that's unused, or you can wait to do that later on. So this is my vocal choir, so I'm just gonna call it that. Chopped choir number 1, choir number 2. So any of these tracks like this one that is currently unused, I'm gonna go ahead and scrap that. I have an effects one, tag 1 hasn't been used yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete any tracks that are unused. So just titling all of these tracks such as these effects is gonna make it much easier later on to identify what track is what. Once I have all of my tracks titled correctly and everything's in order here and I'm ready to export, I'll go to the top left file drop down and go to export, and I'll select all tracks as audio files. It's gonna open this tab here, and so I want to walk through a couple of these options. The range option I have set at trim silence at file end, and what this is going to do is just only include the audio that is found within the track, and it's not going to be the same length every single time. That's going to kill your computer space. The next option is save format. I like to go with wave because simply put, that's the highest quality. We have bit depth. I like to set this at 32-bit float. If you have this available, it is a game changer for engineers, and there's some science behind it, but if you have to go with 24-bit, that is okay too. I want to make sure that bypass effect plugins is turned off. Include audio tail, you don't need to turn that on. Make sure that the include volume and pan automation box is checked. In this normalize option here, I've set to overload protection only. I think that is the default, but down here at the bottom, we're basically telling Logic what we want to name our stems, and so I have kept it pretty simple and only had the track name. So whatever I named all of these tracks here is going to be the name of the stems. So what I've done with this custom element here is just make sure that the key and the BPM are included at the very end of the stems. But if you wanted to use any of these other elements that are available, simply just drag and drop them into that row. When I am done with this and ready to export, I will make sure that my correct location is selected. So this is going to be my desktop. Just go ahead and ignore these up here. And in the bottom left, hit new folder, call this the name of the beat, and then add stems. Then just leave the key as well as the BPM. So that makes it easier for the engineer or artist to know what they're working with. Finally hit create. It's gonna take a second to export all of your stems, but finally hit export any day now. Okay, finally. So the stems are done exporting, and so now I can go back to my desktop and voila, there it is, my folder with all of my stems. So if I were to create a new project, let's say I'm an engineer working on the final mix and master for this song, just gonna click, drag, select all of them, and then drag them into my system, create new tracks, and boom. So I'm able to go through and select any of these tracks and start to increase or decrease the volume, add effects, you name it. So mixing engineers have a much easier time. I can just turn the volume up and down to avoid any clashing. Same thing with the bass line. If that is too loud, I can just alter the volume by manually taking these up or down, and it is much more simple than having just a one-track audio file. That's the standard, is just having one audio file for the beat. But in an ideal world, the engineer gets to work with all the stems so that they can alter and mix with the vocal. I can add EQs to change out any of the elements of the beat that are clashing with the artist, or even let's say that there's too many snares or claps and the artist wants to take them out for an outro. I could go on and on why this is important, but ultimately it is a very simple step. Now that you guys know how to do it, I would do it every single time that you're done making a finished beat. Just go ahead and export the stems into a folder like we've seen today. But overall, guys, the song stems really empower the engineers to just elevate your music to the next level. It simplifies their process and it eliminates a lot of the technical challenges engineers have when they're just working with one beat or instrumental audio file. Can't stress it enough, export your stems. It is super easy to do, and it makes a huge difference in the final song. If you are a Logic Pro producer, go below this video, hit that sub button and like if you want to help support the channel. You guys are the reason I make these videos, so if you want to see anything specific, let me know below in the comments. Until the next one, I'll catch you guys. Keep making music, keep it simple. Peace out.